My name is Harold J. Whitmore. I practiced law for 53 years. I've seen killers cry on the stand, and innocent men smile at their sentencing. I've learned one thing in all those years. The most dangerous person in any room is the one nobody suspects. Today, I'm going to tell you about a man named Daniel Mercer. A devoted husband, a respected surgeon, a man his entire neighborhood called a saint. He was none of those things. On the morning of March 4, 2003, Daniel Mercer called 911 at 6:47 a.m. He was sobbing, barely able to speak. He said, "My wife, I think she fell. She's not breathing. Please hurry." The operator stayed on the line. She later told me, and I'll never forget this. She said, "Mr. Whitmore, in 20 years of taking emergency calls, I have never heard a husband cry like that." The jury heard that same statement. But by then, they already knew what I knew. Those weren't tears of grief. They were tears of relief. Let me take you back to the beginning. Daniel Mercer was 41 years old, cardiothoracic surgeon at St. Augustine Medical Center in Hartford, Connecticut. 6-figure salary, big house on Elmwood Drive, 2 golden retrievers, and a wife, Rebecca Mercer, who, by every account, was the most warm-hearted woman in that zip code. Rebecca taught kindergarten. She organized the neighborhood food drives. She remembered every birthday. People loved Rebecca. And Daniel was the perfect husband. Flowers every anniversary. Date nights every Friday. Their neighbors, the Pattersons, told police later, "We used to joke that they were the only happy couple we knew." But here's what the neighbors didn't know. 3 months before Rebecca's death, Daniel had taken out a $2.4 million life insurance policy on his wife. He told the insurance agent Rebecca wanted it for security. Rebecca had no idea it existed. March 4th, a Tuesday. Daniel told police that Rebecca had gotten up early, around 6:30, to make coffee. He said he was still in bed. He heard a loud thud. He rushed downstairs and found her at the bottom of the staircase, unconscious, not breathing. Paramedics arrived in 4 minutes. Rebecca was pronounced dead at the scene. Initial report, accidental fall, blunt head trauma. Case closed, or so Daniel thought. But the responding officer, a young woman named Officer Tanya Cole, she noticed something. Rebecca's socks. Rebecca was wearing thick wool socks. The kind you wear when the floors are cold. But here's the thing. The kitchen floor was carpeted. Rebecca had no reason to be walking on a slippery hardwood staircase in wool socks at 6:30 in the morning just to get to a carpeted kitchen. Officer Cole flagged it. The medical examiner took a second look. And that's when everything unraveled. The second autopsy found something the first one missed. Rebecca had a subdural hematoma, bleeding on the brain. Common in falls, yes, but the pattern of the injury was wrong. The trauma was concentrated in one specific area, the left posterior side of her skull. The medical examiner, Dr. Priya Nair, 20 years of forensic experience, she testified that the injury was consistent with a blunt object strike from behind. Not a fall forward. Not a tumble downstairs. Someone had hit Rebecca Mercer in the back of the head, and then placed her body at the bottom of the stairs. We also found something else. In Rebecca's bloodstream, a sedative, midazolam, a drug used in surgical procedures. A drug that, as a cardiothoracic surgeon, Daniel Mercer had daily access to. He had drugged her first, so she wouldn't fight back. Then he struck her. Then he staged the fall. And then he went back upstairs and waited 13 minutes before calling 911. 13 minutes. We know this because his phone showed activity. He was deleting text messages during those 13 minutes. Those messages, they were to a woman named Carla Simmons, a nurse at his hospital, a woman he'd been seeing for 8 months, a woman he had promised, I quote from recovered messages, "It'll all be over soon. Then it's just us." I took this case because Rebecca's mother called me. She was 71 years old, sitting in my office, holding a photograph of her daughter, and she said, "Mr. Whitmore, everyone thinks he's a good man. Please don't let that be enough." I didn't. The defense was clever. They attacked the forensics. They said the sedative could have been cross-contamination. They said the text messages were taken out of context. Daniel Mercer took the stand. He wept. He spoke about how much he loved Rebecca. He was polished, calm, convincing. But I had one question for him on cross-examination. Just one. I asked him, "Dr. Mercer, in the 13 minutes between finding your wife unconscious at the bottom of the stairs and calling 911, what were you doing?" He said, I was in shock. I couldn't move. I then showed the jury his phone records. 47 deleted messages. Sent and deleted in that window. I looked at the jury. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty. First-degree murder. Daniel Mercer was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Carla Simmons, the nurse, she cooperated with prosecution. She hadn't known what he was planning. She testified against him. She lost her nursing license anyway. Rebecca's mother was in the front row when the verdict was read. She didn't cheer. She didn't cry. She just closed her eyes and nodded slowly. I've won over 200 cases in my career. That nod, right there, that's the only reward that ever mattered. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's one officer noticing a pair of wool socks. Pay attention to the small things, folks. The devil hides in the details. I'm Harold Whitmore. I'll see you in the next case.